She'll survive this. She probably has a ton of damage. Oh shit, she does a crazy amount of damage this time. 55k on someone with half damage taken. Alright. He's super dead. Got it. Yeah, there was no way he was going anywhere like that. Oh my god. No. We needed him active. I think we need to start just pushing for a kill here. I mean, we're not doing anything other than quick combo anyway this turn. How hard does she hit with like plus 200% damage? She did 611? 6-7? She did like 50k, it's not bad. Bust her up and she starts roughly. How close is he to NPing? Oh, it's one turn up. If we hadn't been stunned, we would have been good. That's dangerous. The people we care about are tanky enough for a turn. I don't think our luck is that bad, so we're just gonna go in on damage. Come on, Ushi. 95k. Right. So if he goes through us, we got like double NP to get the kill. That's pretty good. I was not expecting her to hit that hard against him. I mean, I think we still got a kill, but that was pretty brutal. Just for yourself, okay. The overcharge doesn't affect damage. I don't think his is damage either. Yeah, it's just the defense, so it's gonna be like defense, then the quick NP. Maximize that damage. He has higher attack, but he's also attack down. She's quick, but she's quick down as well. Yeah, we're just gonna push damage. I think the NPs will kill her anyway. Oh yeah, that's some serious damage. Now she got, yeah, I assume it's just the buffs and then the fight ends. Yeah, here we go. Alright, that was an interesting fight, a little bit long, 20 turns-ish. I don't think you needed anything too crazy to do that fight though. That was a very doable fight. You could do that. You could probably have done that without Waver most of the time. His arts deck is actually kind of awkward. I think Realm is pretty easy to get a handle on. Or get a hold of. Days. Good fight. A good fight. 10-10-10 Aussie kind of carries, but we're okay. Alright, what's next? We've taken down the new challenge quest. Got a kill. Moolah was pretty good. I don't think. I mean, the buffs are kind of gimmicky. I think they're supposed to overwhelm you and force you to do something silly. I think you could have changed the composition around a bit too. I think I could have still played around with the composition, made it a little bit more free-to-play friendly. Where's my rider friend? I was borrowing. I don't know where he went. Like, there we go. I assume not everyone has a friend with like a level 90, 10, 10, 10 NPT rider. But I feel like you definitely could have done that with a few other servants, as long as they have a balanced deck. That's kind of what you want for this, because it demands the arts cards. You kind of want to get rid of them because they keep buffing the... You kind of want to use the like buffs it gives you because it'll buff the boss. Like if I didn't have Aussie, I think I might actually want Ushi more than Ryoma, simply because you need that evade. Like, the survivability is really important. Ryoma has nothing in terms of survivability other than mental debuff resist. Which, I mean, I'm sure there's a fight where it matters, but like, Charisma, his really weak NP gain ability, and then his like solid Hero of the Reform ability. This is his only good ability. Charisma C is very, very weak. It's not a great Charisma skill. This like 10%, this is like set at 10% at level 1. It doesn't go up with higher levels. That's why I like only have it at 2, because I'm like, do I care about mental debuffer risk? Not really. Am I getting this guy to 10, 10, 10? No. I might put it to 6 just to get the cooldown reduction, but there's no point leveling this skill unless you're going for cooldown reduction. The charisma is alright. Like, it damages damage, so you can't complain about leveling it up. It gets like 0.5% or something. It gets like 0.9% every level or something. It's like a weak leveling skill, but it's something. This one's where the fun's at. Hero of Reform. Like instinct stapled to a solid arts buff for yourself. He does good damage, but I really feel like he needs survivability to be relevant in like a challenge quest, unless you're like min turning with him. Because like Ozzy has that heal on his Imperial Privilege, even if, you know, like you saw earlier with me where I have terrible luck with Imperial Privilege, like, oh, 80% success chance, we'll just fail all of them 3 turns in a row, or 3 times in a row. It's still good enough to heal you, like 3k, which isn't anything to sneeze at if the boss isn't doing like 3/4 of your health in damage. Especially if you just take some chip damage because you have like defense ups or something. Yeah, his charisma is way better, and of course he's got this 20% freaking buff. And he can just force through Imperial Privilege if you like align Imperial Privilege and Protection of the Sun God, which is super good. Yeah, I like the Aussie here. If you don't have one, I think you could get away with most other 5-star single target servants, like as long as they're not AoE. I can't remember if he's AoE. I think he is. He's like a farming servant, isn't he? Yeah, heavy damage all enemies. Yeah, I think any like 5-star single target servant would do it here, and you could probably try it with a 4-star or a 3-star. Like Ushi might be able to pull it off, especially if you get her like evade skill up a little bit higher. Mine's pretty low. For Ushi, you really want Tengu strategy to be leveled up. NP gain is huge on her. You need those NPs. That's her base stats are not amazing. The charisma, obviously, a solid skill level, and Art of the Swallow, which is her 3rd skill, which you get way later than I'd like you to, but the evade is super handy. And if you can get like a Brave Chain with her that turn, you'll generate a solid chunk of stars. Yeah, Ushi might actually be a better choice than Ryoma for frontline, if you aren't doing some like weird min-turn shenanigans. I don't know if you could do anything on this fight, min-turning, because of the damage reduction, but I feel like just the evade gives you that extra comfort level of survivability. I also think you could probably replace Waver here. He was good. I liked the star generation because the fight calls for crits a bunch, but I feel like he's also replaceable. I mean, I don't have too many supports. I don't have too many amazing supports that I would replace him with. Who could I replace him with comfortably? Who's like not a 5-star that I could replace him with for like a cheaper free-to-play comp? I could probably do. Paracelsus isn't going to help you much. You kind of want survivability. I would almost just go Hans. Hans would be good. I think Hans would be good here as a support. He's going to keep your servants alive just a little bit longer. The defense up is helpful for making sure Georgios doesn't die early. The heal is also going to help there a little bit. Crit up's good. My Hans isn't actually leveled on this account, unfortunately. Star Generation is going to be good for ensuring those crits. I think everything he has is going to be useful. Yeah, everything Hans has is super useful here. I don't think, or squares around the buffs usually mean they're on removal, so I assume like Medei isn't super great here. Who would be? Are there any other alternative riders I would like pick instead? Nothing in the 3-star category, I don't think. No. None of these pop out as being amazing. Like Georgios is already in his element here. This is where he wants to be. Other taunters. Obviously Leonidas is going to do some work for you here if you need another taunter. Because like you don't have a third, like I'm not sure 3 riders was amazing. It was an amazing choice. A taunter might have been more useful to buy me like 2 turns or something. Like Leonidas would have done an alright job there. Not dying. Same with Dion. They're all super useful serpents. It was a good challenge quest though. Like I had some fun. It only took 2 tries to kill it, but you could definitely approach it in several different ways. You just need a solid 4 rider. I don't know if I could actually do Ushi. I could probably do Ushi, but I might want to change to a slightly different defensive support. I might actually want Hans for Ushi, just so that if she takes some damage suddenly, she's not sitting at 1 hit point the whole fight. Other than that, she hits really hard with her NP, which is where like half your damage comes from in this fight. Because you're like awkwardly picking a lot of really weird art combos, like, oh, an arts combo would be amazing here, but unfortunately I gotta pick this quick and this buster card, and then I also have to NP because reasons, because, you know, the last 3 things screwed me up a little bit. Alright, we're gonna get back to the farming. I know, not everyone's favorite, but it's Gilfest, that's what we do here. If we had any requests for fights, I'd do that. I feel like Waver's a very acquirable servant though. Like, nothing in my fight was super difficult to get a hold of. His rightful place. I was running his rightful place. I was running like a Star Generation CE, but like literally any Star Gen would work. Damage, doable. Probably didn't need both of them. Yeah, I feel like this wasn't the most crazy expensive thing. Like, you could have done it. It could have actually been done better by someone else. By a different composition. Alright. This is our caster comp, right? That's gonna be our caster comp for Gilfest. We still didn't get one, right? Like, the worst thing is we still didn't get another CKT. So that's what we're gonna be hoping for, is more CKTs. We MLB'd this one, removing our ability to put CKT on Paracelsus because it made our 3 turns more reliable, and going from 2 non-MLBs to an MLB is the same bonus tickets, so there's no point not doing it the minute you have the option. I mean, our comp's okay. It does like a 3-turn every other... It does 3-turn like every other fight. Not perfect. Then we're going to like Gilfest farming. Let's see what we... Okay, good start. We got our easy free turn clear here. Just gonna arts combo with Nero. Very specifically, don't boost Paracelsus's damage through the roof. Simply because we want to maximize our overkill hits with Nero. As an arts combo plus overkill from the damage he's going to do to the third guy is going to give us our 50% charge, which is all we need to get through this fight. We can charge Nero 50% over the course of these the first two waves, then we can get it in our third wave. We get a NP in our third wave on turn 3. Alright, since we've already gotten 50% NP, we're just gonna damage buff up. No levels, but feathers are hard to come by these days, and the feathers aren't in the lottery, which is super irritating. I think one of the winter lotteries has feathers. So that's what I'm really looking forward to. It has like feathers and I think fangs, which are like the dragon fangs, which I also need. The awkward scenario where I got multiple Artorias who require like 24 dragon fangs per skill, and then I have like every servant under the sun who requires feathers, I swear. Like, I have like an Okita just sitting there needing like 40 feathers right now. I just spent a couple feathers to make sure George had like his taunt skill at level 6, because I needed the defense up for that fight. Like, fighting assassins, this is definitely a good call. When I saw that caster of Midrash was our boss fight, I was like, saw she was the new challenge quest right before the stream. I was just like, yeah, we're gonna make sure George's skill is at level 6 so he doesn't randomly explode to a single crit or something like that from the boss, because I didn't really know how hard the boss was gonna hit. It might hit like a wiffle bat, or it might just be like, you know, whatever the gimmick is, you need to be ready for it. And just having a solid frontline tank, even if he's like a 1-star, is probably the most obvious way to prepare for that. Dion's good, but he's kind of awkward because you have to spend his evade. He doesn't have guts, so you have to spend his evade to eat NPs. And when you spend his evade to eat NPs, if you spend his evade to eat NPs and you don't taunt the turn you evade, then he's basically wasting the defense up bonus from his evade. Because the taunt will wear out. So you kind of want to like taunt them, but then it's like the first 4 turns you're just eating attacks to the face, and you don't have any defense ups because his defense up's attached to his evade. He's a very awkward 4-star. Kind of why people like George more, and they don't recommend him very often. That and like level 1 George works, and you need to be like level 60 with Dion for him to even be able to fill the tank role, because his taunt's in his 3rd skill. Makes him really bad for like early game players. Because like having something attached to your final ascension for your like last ascension is super awkward. Cool, another 3 turns. I wish they would improve like the debuff cleanse ability. I know Ku doesn't need buffs, but for a lot of servants that debuff cleanse is like super weak. Just thinking about Dion, his like middle skill. Cleanse debuffs. Cleanse debuffs on a tank at least should remove stun. It's so awkward that it doesn't. You're like, especially with Dion, because his defense up and his survivability skill is it lasts 1 turn. So if he gets stunned, you're in like a real pickle, because he has a whole skill devoted to cleansing debuffs, and it doesn't cleanse the 1 debuff he would care about. Other than obviously skill seal, which I think it's fair that a skill-based debuff cleanse doesn't cleanse skill seal, but whatever. let's get that 100% charge up. Real quick. Clear this round. We got a little bit later to go. Probably just gonna be streaming for an hour, couple hours, like 11:30. Oh, my uptime got reset because like OBS randomly shat itself for 2 seconds. Yeah. Oh, you actually dropped a couple of frames. That's not good. I might have to look at the internet or the computer after this. Admittedly below. That many frames? That's like 4 whole seconds. That's 4 seconds over 2 hours isn't the worst. But and I think it was all at once, but that's still not. Where do they want me? I should put this buff up so most of the time I don't have to hit Danzo after the NP. The Moolah challenge quest was pretty good. I think I was looking forward to most, amusingly enough, every round on waivers buffs wasn't his NP or his attack buff, which I usually want. It's like his defense buff. It's such a good buff when you start needing it because it's like, oh, attacks are gonna go everywhere. The flat damage cut is great for bosses that hit multiple times. Waver's probably gonna hit Bond 10 this event. I got lucky he hits Bond 10. He's gotten like 2 Bond levels already. Oh, you can't see Bond from here, right? Oh, would that be useful? I don't know. I don't think we need to see Bond from here. Now we didn't get our arts combo this turn, but things are not completely lost, as we can still get both our arts cards next turn, or save ourselves. I think if we get one, because now we got 9%, if we get one arts card and it does, I think we might have it still. We just need to be careful what abilities we use to charge our NP. As long as we don't use the attack buff, because we're NP1, musically enough we can fail to kill the Orochi. It's the poor person strats. You can NP loop easier because your NPs don't kill things in one hit. Updating something, alright. Now, of course, we might. You weren't paying attention. You might have said, "Oh, yeah, 49%. Waiver only charges 50%." Remember, in this game, 99% is basically the same thing as 100%. 49%? Where's Roman Tarkus 50? Have a minor interruption. Oh well. Just looking at what Restream is doing. It's correctly setting things up in Twitch. I cannot freaking tell if it's setting things up right on YouTube though. It looks a little bit wonky. Interesting. It wants you to restart broadcast in order to change titles. I used Restream. That was an interesting experience. It seems to be working alright with Twitch. Not as huge a fan of how it's interacting with YouTube, but yeah. We'll see this. Shit, that was the wrong cards. Like, I'm gonna straight up save scum that. That was stupid. Oh. Gonna take like 4 or 5 turns because I screwed up. I'm a moron. Oh, I can't believe I did that. I was like, oh yeah, I got the Neuro Arts combo for a 3 turn, and we'll just click the waiver card first because, you know, I'm not thinking about what I'm doing. Alright, let's not screw this one up. If we screw it up twice, we're gonna feel really stupid. Interesting, but like the stream information module in OBS does not let you pick a lot of games. It has like a set list and it's like 10 games. It's like the most, I was gonna say it's the most popular games on the platform, but it's not even that. It's got some pretty obscure games. It might be like the current top 10. It's got like super hot right now though. Like it's got WoW, it's got Final Fantasy 14, it's got Apex. It's got games I haven't heard of like Audica. Blade and Sorcery. Dirt Rally. It's like someone. It's like they made a list. Interesting. Oh well. I'm not super happy with my setup for the YouTube setup. It could definitely be better. I like edit the video from the settings here. Probably like edit the description of the video to say who I killed Moolah with. That might be useful. It was close to a free-to-play setup. I would say it kind of is. Like, realistically, if you're a free-to-play player, you should really have been aiming for a waiver in the Fate Zero rerun that happened last month. If you're completely new, well, I'm not sure challenge quests are for people who started last month. If they can't be soloed. I think you can solo this with like a level 100 Q altar, so if you really wanted to do that, you probably could. Q altar does disgusting things. I think I saw a solo of that on YouTube a bit ago. I'll probably cut this into its own video. I'll probably cut this into its own video with the challenge quest kill. I haven't decided if I want to mute the audio and just play video through. Kind of do like, I think that's what Lily does, just mutes the audio. So I can just play the whole thing. Go through the second thing. I think my composition is pretty solid. And relatively friendly if you've been playing like 6 months. Probably cut out Ryoma. Replace him with like a different support or another tank if you wanted to. I didn't actually use him that much because he got basically wasted. He basically just ate an NP. If it was possible to take 2 Georgios, he's basically that. The 2 Georgios would have been better. He did like 50k and then died. Good kill. Oh wow, it was fun. I mean, I'll rewatch it, see how it goes. I was recording it locally too, so we'll be able to play games with it, see how it worked, see what worked and what didn't. Do our own personal review of our kill. See what I did wrong. I don't think I made too many mistakes there. The core of our team was definitely Aussie Waver and then Mash Georgios. Was a further good call. I'm still questioning the choice of waiver. I think I just picked waiver because I have a waiver. I'm not positive it was the best choice. I think Merlin might have been better. Like with Aussie, Merlin is probably better. Especially because Merlin has illusion. Yeah, I definitely picked Merlin. I might actually pick Merlin instead. I might actually pick Merlin instead if I do that again. Like, if I had the support choice. If I had the Aussie, I would definitely pick Merlin. He works, I think he works a little bit better with Aussie. You can use like his hero creation to massively boost your Buster NP damage. And he's going to be generating passive NP for everyone in turns, so with your awkward ass card choices, you're still getting a decent amount of NP gain. His charisma's, he's still got the charisma, which is, oh, alright, I have to swap in the other way. He's got charisma, he's got the illusion so that people don't randomly tank NPs to the face if your taunters are down. And if you need to heal someone, because like they're gonna die in like one hit, or you're like they proc their guts, or they just took a bunch of damage and you don't have any other sustain. They're handy. Plus he's got like his NP's got that healing over time, which is, I mean, it's always good, but in that fight I think it could have been particularly good. Just like give you like an extra hit or an extra turn on a few servants. I guess he doesn't give the defense up that Waver does. That's the one downside he has. Did I forget to do the 20% damage buff? Nah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I think Merlin would be pretty good. Very strong alternative at the very least. I mean, Merlin's strong. Yeah, he's definitely gonna be better for. He's probably gonna be better for damage if you're using Aussie. But is he gonna be better for everything else? Not quite sure. His sustain is in healing. If you're getting one shot, that kind of sustain isn't super useful. But I don't think I was getting one shot most of the time, unless I knew I was getting one shot. In which case, it really didn't matter. Like if you're taking like 50k from an NP while you have class advantage, like there's nothing you can do about that. 10%, 10-20% defense up is not going to save you from big NPs that one-shot you. Unless you're really, really close on like the damage reduction, like you're about to get 90 or 100% defense up. Then maybe the Waver is better if you're like, oh, I'm going to have 100% defense, or they're going to be like 90% attack down. That's the only time I'd care for the Waver too. Because like I was definitely like desperately wanting to use that defense up every turn I possibly could, because it was the incoming damage on the tanks was way too damn high. I was expecting a friend request from one of my coworkers today. He must have forgotten or like fallen asleep right after he got in. Dude. No matter. I'll connect my Steam to my phone again because I forgot my Steam password. Didn't sign in on my phone today because I was just like, oh, right. It doesn't automatically sign me in. What's my Steam password? That's why we have password authentication for password management tools. Saves us a lot of effort remembering a lot of passwords. Like when I was putting in job apps for my previous job, like you put out like, I don't know how many job applications you guys put out per day, but I put out like 15. I was putting out minimum 10 every single day. So I was making probably like 8 or 9 passwords every single day. Like, there's no way you remember 9 passwords you're learning every single day. 9 unique passwords you're learning every single day for a website you're probably never going to go back to. Like, if they don't email you, you're probably not getting anything from them. Like, please fill out our application and make a unique login so that we have like all your information and can, you know, sell it for whatever reason. Thanks for putting in all your information. Now please, Waver's getting close. Thank you for all your information. Now please, wait for us to contact you via email. You're like, why do I have to put in all the information? Make an account. Like, the account's not doing anything for me because you're not following up with anything. Why? Why is there a waiver that's 444? I can understand 666, or I can understand like some awkward number where you're like, oh, I didn't have the materials for that. 444 is a really weird choice. Like they stopped before the cooldown reduction kicked in. They forgot to focus on like the attack up. I'm not sure what happened. Is 444? No, because that's like the first, like 2 and 3 are blue gems. Going to 4 means you spent red gems. Like, what are they honestly spending their red gems on that isn't waiver? Like, he's probably, like, he's like one of the big 4. He's one of the best possible people you could be spending your caster gems on. Who are you spending your caster gems on in the middle of a lottery season that isn't waiver? Like, level 4 only requires, it just requires like 5 red gems, right? Or no. No, level 5 requires materials. So I guess he might not have the materials. It's still really weird to think like someone didn't level their waiver. Like at least the attack one should be up to like 10. That attack buff is so useful. It scales so well. Like 30% attack, 500 damage. It's super good. And can you imagine if Nero got her like, they like buffed her rampaging privilege to make the NP gain buff go off all the time? That'd be so good. I'd like them to buff Nero just a little bit. But of course, Akita would make more sense, but they don't buff Akita, so I can wish for whoever the fuck I want to get buffed. There's a lot of servants that should be buffed that don't get them. Like, who else? Who actually needs a buff? Sammy Ramos needs a buff because she's fucking garbage. Like, her first skill, 30% battery. Okay, that skill's fine. Her second skill, which is her defensive skill, is like NP gain up and remove class advantage. Remove class disadvantage. Except, unlike this one, it randomly doesn't apply to the Berserker class, so you still take full damage from Berserkers. So it's less useful than like 1/3 of the effects of this. This is like attack and defense up, and negate class disadvantage defensively. Or is it just like NP gain in exchange for these two, and then a worse version of that? I mean, she doesn't even have an arts NP, so I don't know why they gave her a worse skill. She's also limited too, so it's like a super weird choice. Then her third skill, which is her Saminora's best skill, is like, it like costs stars, which is a fucking brutal drawback for a farming servant. Because, you know, you don't necessarily have any freaking stars if you're a farming servant, because like, oh yeah, I'm a farming servant. How many quick chains have I done recently? Like 0, because it costs 10 stars? I don't know what they were thinking with that. But it's basically like a worse version of the new buff they put out for Darius. Because his is exactly the same, 30% Buster debuff AoE. Except his gives him guts in addition to that, and doesn't cost stars. Like, why does a fucking limited 5-star have their best ability and their only damage steroid be worse than a 3-star? Who's like, he was pretty terrible too. Let's be honest, Darius isn't amazing. But it's like, Guts is already a decent ability, especially on a Berserker. Like, Berserkers drop like fucking flies. Have you seen? I have Hijikata. The guy dies in one hit. He's like basically stapled for life to a Guts CE. If he ever de-equips it, he just dies in one shot and is completely useless because he needs to be at low health to deal damage. And he's a Berserker with no defensive, so he just dies in one shot to a random crit, and there goes your whole run. On the other hand, if he has the Guts CE, sometimes they don't attack him a second time, and he hits for like 1 billion damage, which is extremely funny. Especially when it's like the worst possible moment to have all your damage cards line up. Like, I remember I was doing this one challenge quest, and the boss had like 10,000 health before a break bar, and I got like an NP I got like an NP Brave chain with like 90% crit and 80% crit on Hijikata. I was like, why do I have this option now? Next turn, when it would literally kill the boss from a full break bar, would be amazing. But this turn, I'm just gonna do 2 of the attacks and something else. He's gonna die. And he's gonna die having done basically nothing. And we're just gonna laugh at ourselves. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, so he like walked up and hit. I forget who he's hitting. I'm gonna just imagine your least favorite servant getting crit for like 200,000 damage in overkill. Like, yeah, I crit that hard. It totally didn't help me at all, but I did hit him that hard. I think the second time I did that quest, because I was doing it for fun, I wanted to see if I could actually get the big damage turn. I did end up getting the damage turn after some extra fiddling, where I did a whole break bar and still had crits to go. That was fun. Like, Hijikata is either an extremely fun servant or an extremely frustrating servant. Same thing with Penth, but I think Penthesilea usually survives to do her damage before dying. Whereas Hijikata doesn't have the NP gain that she has, so he can sometimes, and he relies on being low on health to do damage instead of just popping buffs, so a lot of times he just dies without having done anything. Whereas Penthesilea will usually do like half or 1 break bar and then be done. I think we're just finishing off this apple, and then gonna take a break and do something else. Oh, Danzo survived. I was thinking the fight was over. I mean, it is over. We just had to watch another animation. I don't mind the loop for this. I just wish it didn't restart every single time you like change scenes. Sometimes bothers me with a lot of mobile games especially. Where the audio changes, like it just changed from an okay tune to your combat music, but I want to vibe out to like their background music, and it doesn't really let you do that at any point. Especially when you're doing like farming nodes. Be nice. I wonder if there's a game that lets you do that. Just control what audio is playing during farming nodes. That'd be a cool feature. Be able to just change the soundtrack to something interesting and have it keep going while you're still farming. Like we're not even going back to the main menu in this game, so I don't see why they couldn't do that. It's like, no, we go to the fun music, then we go to the generic battle music, then we go back. What was a game that bothered me that did that a lot? I was playing Iron Saga a little bit. The game's okay. Like, I mean, it's an auto battler, so your expectations are only so high for auto battling. But it had some banging soundtrack because it has Sawano stuff. He did like, I don't know if he did the whole soundtrack, but he did a bunch of really good songs in it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I want to listen to this song I could listen to the song for like 3 hours, and it's like, oh, they played it for 12 seconds, and then I won the fight, and it went to a different song, and I got into the fight, and it started the song from scratch, and another fight, and it starts from scratch, and you're just like, why did this happen? Like, I want to enjoy the music. If you're gonna try, if I'm like sold on the music for a game, I want to enjoy the track for more than 2 seconds. And Iron Saga really doesn't let you do that. It's like, oh, they have a really nice main menu theme. And you're like, awesome. I want to hear it. And you're like, no. They're like, no. You're gonna hear it only if you're sitting on the main menu. We have some really generic menu music for the rest of our menus. You have to be sitting on the start page to enjoy this. Like, I don't want to just sit there at the start page. If I'm gonna do that, sit on the start page with a game open on my phone, I'm just gonna swap over to YouTube, look up the song there, and listen to it there, because I can like wander around, do other shit there, and I don't need to download a 2 GB app to be able to enjoy your song. Because I already have YouTube for other reasons, right? Or better, Spotify. There's a question I have. I wonder why. I wish artists would. I know there's a lot of artists, but I wish more artists would upload all their stuff to Spotify. It's like people are gonna be listening to your music, like basically illegally, or giving someone else money for it because they're gonna upload the soundtrack to YouTube or whatever, and people are just gonna stream it 400,000 times there. Like, why not just upload literally everything to Spotify and get some of the money you're owed at least? It's like, I'll do that instead of going on Spotify. If it's on Spotify, I'm not going to bother watching it on YouTube. If it's like illegal on YouTube, I'm going to watch it, and it's only there, I'm going to watch it there. Like, classic service problem. I don't have access to the soundtrack. Soundtrack is, you know, for a lot of anime stuff, it's like, oh, it's only released in Japan, or it's like $150 for the soundtrack. And you're like, are you out of your fucking mind? Nobody spends that much money on a single soundtrack. Like, I'm here for like my 3 favorite songs. CDs that are released solely on the basis of their music are like 15 bucks. If you're charging more than a CD for less content, or like the same content, you gotta ask yourself what the fuck you're doing. You can maybe say, oh, it's a limited run. We don't know if there's much of an audience, so this is really aimed for people who are already fans. We're gonna charge a little bit more, you know, you charge 20, 25. But the minute you're up in like, the minute you pass like 50 bucks for a CD, like the soundtrack, it's like really questionable if it's new. If it's like super out of print, obscure, whatever, that's fine. But for brand new stuff, I don't like how much it costs. It's just way more than anything else that's comparable. Right, well, I think we're gonna be done for now. I got some video editing. Gonna put up a video on the Moolah kill, hopefully later this week. Thanks for tuning in if you've been watching. I'll see you guys next time.